As parents, it can be at times very frustrating, especially when the child is not listening to you in spite of what you're trying to tell, in spite of what you're trying to explain to the child, and your child is just not listening and saying a big no, throwing a tantrum, crying, screaming, and you're at your wits' end. But here are 5 mistakes that parents commit and must be completely avoided. Hi, I'm Supriya Raja and I am the founder of the Empowered Parenting Hub. And in this video, I'll be giving you the 5 mistakes or the 5 things that parents must completely avoid if they want their child to get to listen to them or comply with them. Number 1 mistake is that you end up beating your child or using aggression in order to get your child to listen to you. Well, it can be pretty effective in the short run because your child is obviously then scared of getting beaten or spanked and your child will listen to you, but in the long run, it can be very, very detrimental for the child, especially for the child's self-esteem. And also don't be surprised if over a period of time, your child is also building anger and resentment within towards you because your child feels helpless, your child is feeling completely overpowered because you're beating, you're spanking, and the child doesn't want, obviously, to get beaten or spanked. It also gives the child a very wrong message that beating or spanking works or that you can use aggression to get things done. Don't be surprised if your child later on does the same act of showing aggression towards his or her peers in school or worse in the later years towards his or her spouse. So be very careful and very, very wary about using this particular strategy of beating or spanking your child just to get things done, even though it looks like it works in the short run. The second mistake that parents will have to definitely avoid if you want your child to get to listen to you is name calling. Yes, it's pretty prevalent when the child is not listening, it's frustrating, you just wanting desperately your child to listen to you, and that you end up judging and name calling, like calling your child lazy, calling your child dumb or idiotic. You have all those labels and names that parents usually use out of frustration, not because you intended, but yes, it is also very, very negative because here again the child feels judged, labeled, and somewhere it also gives a very, it's like programming, a soft programming in the child's mind that I'm dumb, I'm idiot, I'm no good, I'm good for nothing, which later on will again affect the child's self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence. And then it takes years of reprogramming for the child, to let go of all these statements from his or her mind. Mistake number 3 is bribing. Yes, as much as spanking and beating is pretty negative and it's a big no-no, the other end of the spectrum is bribing the child, saying that, if you do this, I'll get for you that expensive bicycle that you're asking for. If you do this, I'll get you that particular expensive toy that you're asking for. Let me tell you, it's a very dangerous zone that you're stepping into, and children are pretty smart because if you're going to be bribing your child with all these expensive material things, don't be surprised when your child will then start using that against you, such as, okay, I'll listen to you, but only when you get that toy or only when you get that cycle. And it's going to be a vicious cycle for you and it's going to be never ending. You don't want to get into that spectrum of bribing and then putting yourself in a very difficult zone of, buying a lot of things that you don't want to buy or you think is not right for the child's age, but you're just buying because you started this game of bribing. Mistake number 4 is comparing. Yes, this is also a very, very detrimental, something which you have to completely avoid is comparing a child either with his or her siblings or with other children, saying that, see, your sister, your brother is this way, but you are that way. Then again, the child will, in a way, start developing a sense of resentment towards the child or resentment towards the other friend if you're going to be indulging in this constant comparison between your child and other children. And then don't be surprised if your child is also going to compare you with other parents, because This is something, I have myself as a teacher encountered when children come and tell me that their parent compares them with other children or compares them with their sibling, and their child is so angry and so much in pain while telling that to me, saying that, see, my parent does that to me, he or she compares me with my brother or sister, I'm so angry and I feel so much frustrated that I'm being compared to my brother or sister, and that they don't see me as someone, as an individual. Well, this is something very, very detrimental, and you mustn't be involving or indulging in this kind of comparisons. So a big no to comparisons also. And the fifth mistake that parents must avoid, that they do commit, is not listening to the child. Yes, because as parents we all think that we know better than the child. What the child is trying to say is not very significant or very important, that we know what the child needs, what the child wants. So we are not actually listening to the child, instead making our own assumptions and judgments, and then forming opinions, and then trying to force those opinions on our children, right? So this is something very, very important, is not even getting to understand what the child wants. Maybe the child won't be able to express what he or she wants, but you'll be able to gauge when he or she talks about the problem, and you're listening to the child. When you actually listen, you will be able to understand what the problem is. But here again, parents, because of lack of time or lack of energy or patience, whatever the reason, do not listen to the child, and instead form their own opinions and judgments and try to force their own opinions and judgments on the child. That is again a big no. So these are the 5 mistakes that as parents you must definitely avoid if you want your child to listen to you, comply with you more easily and effortlessly. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified each time I post a video. Additionally, I also have a Facebook group, the Empowered Parenting Support Group. You can hop in by clicking in the link given in the description box. So until my next video, have a great day. Bye-bye and God bless.